Yes, just follow me. I will call this equation. Okay, let me call this equation number 1. Then I will call this equation what? Number what? 2. Wow. Are you getting it now?
Yes, sir.
Now, before I proceed further, fundamentally, to use this biblical what? Revelation to establish the fact that God is light, let me take us through what? A particular experience which resulted to one of the greatest discovery of all time, and which has to do with what? The experience of what the genius of all geniuses. Otherwise, what applauded to be the most intelligent man of all time. I speak of the person called Albert Einstein. Now, one day around May of 1905, Albert Einstein, the genius of all geniuses, paid a visit to the home of his best friend, Michel Bessel, whom they both had worked in the patent office. He went there principally to lay down the dimension of the problem which had puzzled him for over a decade, using what Michel Bessel, his best friend, as his favorite sounding board for what his idea. On reaching the home of Michel Bessel, he presented the issue, saying, Newton's mechanics and Maxwell's equations, which happens to be the two pillars of physics, are incompatible. Either one or the other must be wrong, and whichever proves to be correct, the final resolution will require the reorganization of the entire laws of physics. After which, Albert Einstein proceeded about the paradox of raising a light beam, which according to him had indeed a great world discovery that is yet to be discovered. They both discussed at length every aspect of the problems in details and extensively, including Newton's concept of absolute time and space that seems to contradict Maxwell's constancy of the speed of light. At a point when it appeared Albert Einstein was mentally exhausted and was psychologically depressed, he announced to Michel Bessel, his best friend, that he was defeated. There was no need for him to continue because there was no future in what he was actually arguing with his best friend Michel Bessel. Even though in the course of the confabulation and at the end of it all, Albert Einstein was mentally exhausted and depressed, his ideas were still shining in his mind, so that very night when he got home, he reflected to one particular event that took place while he was riding on his streetcar in Berlin, and simultaneously looking at the famous clock tower which dominated the city. He then imagined if his streetcar should race past the clock tower with the speed of light, what would happen? He now realized instantly or suddenly that the clock tower would appear to have stopped, since light could not catch up with his streetcar. Meanwhile, the clock inside of his streetcar will still be beating normally. Then he suddenly hit in the key to the entire problem. Albert Einstein reflected, a storm broke loose. In my mind, the answer is simple and elegant. Time beats at different rates throughout the universe, depending on how fast you travel. Wow. Imagine clocks scattered at different placed in space, with each one of them reporting different time, with each one of them ticking at different rate, such that the length of the duration of 1 second as reported by planet Jupiter is not as the same as the duration or length of 1 second as reported in the moon, nor the one reported on planet Earth. The faster you travel, the more time slows down. Consequent upon this observation or the behavior of light, otherwise today known as the relativity of simultaneity, light today is therefore concluded not to be an absolute concept, but rather one that is relative. Time flows at different rate from differently moving observers, moving relative to one another. By implication, when two observers are called upon, or two observers who move relative to one another, are called upon fundamentally to measure the time interval between two independent events, ultimately at the end of it all, then we would come up with two different results. Why? Because of the spatial separation of the two independent events measure from different initial frame of reference. A day after this monumental, pivotal, and revolutionary revelation was brought to the conscious understanding or made known to Albert Einstein, Albert Einstein, in no hesitation, went back to the home of his best friend, even with heart, saying, "Hello, he blotted heart, I have completely solved the problem. An analysis of the concept of time was my solution. And I've come to the realization of this impeccable truth, that time cannot be absolutely defined, and there is an inseparable relationship between time and the signal velocity. After which, about Einstein, for a period of 6 weeks, subjected his brain to a greater critical dimension, put his nose to the grindstone, every day laboriously, furiously, and basically working out details of mathematical equation towards his brilliant work idea. And that led to one of the most famous papers of all time. Included in this particular paper is today celebrated as the time dilation word formula. The time dilation formula. Let me establish it on the board. The time dilation formula is given mathematically as delta t is equals to delta t naught all over the square root of 1 minus into bracket v all over what c enclosed in what bracket what square. This is what we call the time dilation formula. Where what delta what t is known as what the time dilation equation, or time what dilation. Dilation what? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Equation. It's called what? The time dilation what? Equation. Where it is also written as t minus what? T naught. Where t is known as the proper time and t naught is known as what? The observed what? Time. We can what further what simplify this equation further. Now from this equation we have delta what? T to be equals to 1 all over the square root of 1 minus into bracket v all over what c enclose the bracket square times what delta what t naught. Now the reciprocal, bear with me, the reciprocal of what this could be what represented using a particular what alphabet which we today call gamma. And if we do that, we're going to have gamma is equals to 1 all over what the square root of 1 minus into bracket v all over c enclosed the bracket square. And this is today called the Lorentz factor. Call it the what? Lorentz factor. Meaning that wherever we say 1 all over the square root of 1 minus v over c enclosed the bracket square, in the time dilation what equation, we can what put what gamma, which stands for what? The Lorentz factor. So let's do that now. When you do that, you have what? Delta t to be equals to gamma times what? Okay, we have delta t. Okay, before we do just that, let's go further. Now, gamma is equals to this. Yes. And also, the what ratio of v, which is the speed with which I'm going to tell you soon, over what the speed of light is known as speed parameter, and it is equally represented with a particular alphabet known as what? Beta. That is v over what c is equals to what? Beta in this particular equation. So gamma now automatically becomes 1 all over, can you see that? Yes. The root of 1 minus what? Beta square. 1 minus what? Beta square. So let's now put this particular word formula or this particular word expression into our original equation. Look, remember the original equation is given as delta t is equals to what? Delta t naught all over what? The root of what? 1 minus into bracket v all over what? C enclose the bracket square. So let us now put this very word expression now. Are you getting it now?
Yes.
Into this, we are going to have what is called delta what? T to be equals to what? In the place of this, that is 1 all over this, we are going to have what? Gamma, which is what? Gamma times what? Delta t was naught. So we are going to call this equation number what? 3. Equation what? Number what? 3. Now let us recall back to the mathematical equation which we previously established by virtue of the knowledge that was made known to us via the revelation that was given to St. or Apostle Peter as contained in the biblical account of 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 8, and which was also made known to the psalmist David as contained in the account of Psalm 90. That's what 4. We established
the science